Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, etc. Let's go. Okay, I am back for session 1 of our Smiling Friends Wight-Box campaign. I've done a lot since the last time. Let's check everything here. Still good. I've done a lot since the last time that I was here. This whole board has completely changed now. So I have some tables that I've made to handle weapon class in OD&D Wight-Box. Weapon class is a really interesting system, but it has some weird rules that are hard to remember through tables or the written word, at least for me. So I found it was helpful to make these charts for it. So these kind of break down how weapon classes work. The way that they work is that a weapon has a class. The lower usually means the smaller the weapon, the faster, the more agile it is. And weapon classes, when they clash against each other, various effects can happen depending on the difference between the two. So, for example, the Defender weapon class here on the screen, this shows that when we are defending, we essentially compare ourselves to the attacker, their weapon class, +2. And if it is that, if that's the result, so if our weapon class is 7 and theirs is 9, let's say, then this would take effect here. And what that would show us is that we can't parry the coming attack if that happens. Very simple. And there's a bunch of other ones. So if it's +1 or -3, then it's you can parry. The attacker gets a -2 for that, but you would not get first strike in this situation. So it's a little bit confusing at first. It makes sense in my head, probably easier than I can explain it. I did write a blog sharing this stuff, and if anybody wants it, it's available on the blog, the information there. I am thinking of distributing this, but I don't want to do it too openly yet. And the reason is, while I have made a lot of my own charts, a lot of my own things, I am importing some of the assets that are available through the Basic Expert, and I just don't know how much he wants me to show, especially from the new books and stuff. I'm going to have to use them for this, and he's been very cool and very okay with me reusing these assets so far, so hopefully there won't be any issues there. But I have brought in character sheets, so I talked a little bit last time about our characters. Like, the point of this solo video, honestly, is for me to learn OD&D as a system with Chainmail via Wight-Box. And I think that having a video out like this and getting some people that are watching, people that have had experience with this game, with OD&D before, it would be nice to get feedback. And if I'm doing anything wrong, let me know. Or if there's anything I could do better, let me know. It's going to be a learning process in any case. So we have 2 sets of character sheets now. We've got our Smiling Friends, so I went and bought all their equipment and got them all set up. Now, I have done something a little bit different here, just for my own way to sort of flesh out the solo experience and maybe some of the randomness of things, is that I've created these shop generators. So you can go through, and each item that's available in the shop, minus a few, which I've saved for a different aspect of this that I built that I'll show you after, you can restock, or you stock up the shop of the town you're in, And this happened for me before I even went ahead and purchased my first round of items. So typically what would happen is you roll your character's gold, and then you can buy all your items. That's how we've done it traditionally. That's not... When I think about it, the way like OD&D approaches it, or the way that the more minimal games approach it, it doesn't... I haven't seen it maybe explicitly said in Wight-Box. It might be there, I'm not sure, but I haven't seen it explicitly said that you get your gold and then you can buy your items and then go out into the world. I'm just under the assumption that we're just starting from the beginning. So if they want to go to a shop and buy their items to start, that if I have a system that generates shops, that it should be accounted for right from the start. And so that made buying items for these characters super interesting in a way, because I rolled really poorly on the stock of items that are in the shops. The only thing that I forgot to do was bows and crossbows, so that wasn't in here yet. So I did allow myself to buy a short bow for one of the characters. But these kinds of things, so, your flasks and your sacks and backpacks, and you need these items to carry your inventory. So we have one character that doesn't have any kind of inventory at all. It's just whatever he holds on his body. So all he really has is weapons. Like, he has he doesn't have rations. He has nothing. It's just whatever you could kind of strap on his belt or on his back, I figured. So he's like a walking war machine now with a bunch of little axes and daggers and stuff. This is him here, Glep. So he's got chain armor and a helmet and a hand axe and 2 daggers and a flail and a short bow and arrows. So he's like a glass cannon at this point, because I think he only has 5 hit points. The armor class isn't too bad. I believe it is 4 for the chainmail, so we would have to make that 5 armor class, because he has a helmet, but I haven't seen anything anywhere where helmets explicitly do something. So as far as I know, they're for some other purpose. I could not glean that from the documents. They don't say anything that I could find about what they do. I remember in AD&D, it's like a 1 in 6 chance, I think, that you'll get hit in the head if you don't have a helmet, and it will use your base AC for that attack. So you're basically screwed. But I didn't see anything like that in OD&D yet, or Wight-Box, so I don't know. He has a helmet. I won't spend a whole bunch more time going through this. We should probably get started sooner than later, but I do want to show you some of these changes. So we've got Pim. He's got a bunch of stuff. The clerics are kind of front loaded here on inventory, so they're just going to be sharing these things basically. But that brings me over to these guys here. These are the Frowning Friends, and the Frowning Friends' purpose in life is to make people frown, get in our way, and ruin what we're doing. We have Grim and Gnarly and Alan, but with 1 L instead of 2 L's, and then Pelg, who's a bad boy, as you can see, he's smoking some reefer, man. So they are going to be getting in our way, and the way that works is we have a hex map over here, and we've got some tokens. So the yellow is us, and these are the Frowning Friends in this sad gray. And they're going to be moving around the map as we move around the map, basically. And the reason I did this is it's kind of an element in AD&D that I really liked. But I made this little quest board system. So you have 4 quests on in the beginning. And both the Smiling Friends and Frowning Friends have to roll 1, 2, 3, 4. So on a 1d4. And they take the quest that they roll. Now if they take the same quest, what's happening is that the Frowning Friends will be getting in our way and trying to ruin it and trying to stop us from being able to do it successfully. And either way, both quests, if they have their own right now and we have our own, but they're off the board for good. So we can't really, role-playing wise, yeah, we could try and ruin the Frowning Friends' time and go after them. And that'll be fun, I think, when I get this to my group, that'll be kind of an element that's in place here. But either way, this quest that the Frowning Friends are doing, unless we intervene somehow, that quest is gone. So when we come back, we will no longer be able to do the Goonawindi quest, where we take some sick-ass Philadelphia meat trays and ciggies and transport them to Horse and Carriage Donut Muster. We can't do that. Sorry, guys. Instead, King Oscar of Spamtopia needs a Spanish interpreter to go north with him to Meep City to parley with the Meepians over a lost shipment of jewels. Okay, very standard D&D quest there. And as we can see, our good friend Alan Red, he's very intelligent. He's got a 14 intelligence, which gives him 4 additional languages. So there's a few races that I've come up with in the game, and they're just it's window dressing. There's nothing to them mechanically. Everybody sort of qualifies as like humans in this as far as stats or changes go. So anyways, he speaks Common, Spanish, which we need for the quest, Bogan, Blibbly, and Goblin. So he's smart. Everybody else is really stupid, unfortunately for them. Most of them only speak Common. So Glep only speaks Glep. I don't know. He's a Glep who speaks Glep. What can I say? Sex Glep. And we have our special sex here, the alpha male, because Charlie has stated that he is an alpha male. So we believe him, and we want to honor that. Now, everybody here is relatively unencumbered, which is nice. I think that Glep's the only one that suffers from a worse movement rate, because he's just stacked with steel. So we come over here. I've got a dungeon builder. I've talked about that already a little bit, but then we've got our tables and stuff that we need. These are not done yet. They're monster cards. I did start making cards for all the monsters, just as a quick reference. But we've got our book on the side here and our badass Vegeta Winamp skin. Vegeta's a inspiration of mine. I wouldn't be able to get up in the morning if I didn't have that Winamp skin. That's how precious it is to me. Anyway, so the current quests are here, and now we have the map. So where our map is sort of separated into 5 different air regions. The rest of it I'm just considering unexplored at this point. We'll expand it as it needs to be expanded. But we start in Pennsylvania and the city of Philadelphia. So this is where we are right now. And the Frowning Friends right across the street from Smiling Friends Inc. They are there as well. And we have our quest. These are little quest dots. So these tied down to the current quest. So we're going to Meep City, and if you look here, Meep City is up here. It's got the same colored little tag there. So Spamtopia is one of our little kingdoms here, and then we've got Goonawindi and Bendigo, and then over here we've got the infamous Dave Land, who's the only one that Pennsylvania is currently at war with. I've got that information up here. And their exports. Of course, Goonawindi exports mud and green cubes from Bendigo, jewels from Spamtopia, cotton candy from Daveland. So these are goods that I'm going to develop some kind of fun trading system at some point, but I haven't gotten there yet. What I have done, though, is a little foraging chart. So because I'm going sort of light on being able to purchase rations and stuff like that, you can purchase some, but sometimes they can be out of stock. I want you to be able to get food and stuff like that in other ways. So what I also did was there's Wolfsbane and Garlic and Belladonna, and those are from the item list in Wight-Box. However, because they all have to do with fighting different monsters, Garlic wards off vampires, etc., etc., I wanted to keep them off of just being sort of generically purchasable, especially since it's so cheap. And I thought, you're going to have to forage for this stuff. So I made a really simple chart to deal with that. Fresh water is on there. There's something called Herculeaf, which is how you make health potions. And then just any kind of root vegetables, edibles. They'll give you a really low amount of rations, you know. So root vegetables would be like you could live off that for a day. Edible weeds and berries, not long, but berries can also be used to make wine. That'll be their purpose later. You can do your own little wine thing. I'm just going to check cameras here, stuff. Perfect. Now, that also brings us to wild game. So you can find wild game first. It's sort of like knowing that it exists. Now you would choose to do this or not. So you'd pick your region. So if we're in the forest, we're trying to hunt wild game. We have to roll a 1 or 2 on a d6. And if we do that, we come over to here. And this kind of tells us what we would get out of that. So we roll a d3 first. So small, medium, large, telling us the amount of rations that catch or whatever is worth. But then we also have to roll a 1 again to capture the creature. It's a little nasty. I think that I'm going to have to maybe tone that down a little bit. It seems like you got to pretty much roll 2 1s in a row most of the time, or 1 or 2. But anyway, that's what we're looking at now. But you can do this multiple times too. So it's like each attempt at finding something is 4 hours. And so if you're out in the wilderness and you camp for a day, you could theoretically do that, let's say 4 times before quitting. This is kind of for the whole party though, so it's not each person gets to do this. This is the whole party is kind of searching together, taking their time to do that. Okay, and then finally we have all of our movement and random encounter shit here, pardon me, and some stuff for like castle generation. And then most importantly, I think, is the Oracle. The Oracle is something that I'm going to be using. It's not only for solo play for me, but OD&D doesn't have a skill system of any kind. Now, it's been hotly debated lately about skills, just because I got called out on another guy's video for saying that skill checks were pointless, which is like kind of an insane thing to say. Obviously, it's being hyperbolic, but what I was trying to get across was that with proper adjudication and paying attention to the stats of the characters and kind of watching behavioral patterns and the things that they like to do outside of just their class role of killing things or casting magic, I think that it is something you can do without rolling. We're not going to totally do that though. So what I'm going to do is use the Oracle table sometimes. So if one of my guys wants to pick a lock, for example, I might say, well, it's unlikely that he's going to be able to do that. Maybe his dex is quite low, or maybe it's even very unlikely or practically impossible. And then we would say, did he do it or not? Was it a success or not? And then you can roll, and we have this Oracle table that tells us no, but. So there's like a consequence or something unexpected will happen that mixes that up a little bit. Or yes, and yes, but. And so I think that's kind of an interesting way to deal with that, and maybe make the solo experience feel a little bit more engaging, rather than just, okay, we're going to move piece B over to square C, and then we're going to roll obviously there's going to be that in combat and stuff, but I would like to make this a little less dry, which is why we're going with this silly theme and everything. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. So we're going to jump into it from here. Our smiling friends have a quest. So our quest currently is, of course, we need to meet King Oscar in Spamtopia. He needs a Spanish interpreter to go north with him to Meep City to parley with the Meepians over a lost shipment of jewels, yada yada yada. So we already talked about that. We are on the map here. We have all of our stuff stocked up. There's nothing else that we can really purchase right now, so there's nothing else that we need to do in town. In Pennsylvania, there's a few places we can go. Pilford's Goods, which is where inventory is sold. We've got the magic user's tower, essentially. We have a place to contract hirelings if we would like to do that. And we have the Meep Church, which is where our cleric will go to get their clerics will go to get their spell books. So our patron there is Mr. Boss, and he has given us this quest. Now, I am kind of interested in the hireling system here. I'm going to take a quick look at that, because I think that the fact that we're in such rough shape might be worth it to do a hireling. So, a character with sufficient coin can hire retainers, NPCs of the character class, mercenaries, fighting men, orcs, paying 100 to 600 GP a week. Oh, we need a posting. Or requires postings or paying 100 to 600 GP a week to spread word. When a candidate is found, the player offers terms. A reaction roll, explained later, may gauge receptiveness if the referee chooses. If accepted, the referee rolls 3d6 for the NPC's secret loyalty score, adjusted over time, poor loot pay, blah, 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 blah. All right, perfect. So it'll cost us 100 to 600 GP per week. Let's see if there's a table for that. It doesn't really say. Now there's a cost in GP monthly. Man, that's not bad at all. Yeah, so those are fairly cheap. Heavy horsemen get expensive and stuff, but monthly for 20, yeah. I think that we might do that. So it says between 100 and 600 GP a week. Should we roll for that? Because it doesn't really tell me. I like a roll of the dice. Let's roll and see if we can even afford to put postings up here. Maybe there's some bylaw in place or something, who knows. So I'm rolling on the table here. That's a 1. So that will be 100 GP. I think we can scrounge up 100 GP here. We got 65 from Charlie, or 85 from Charlie. Yeah, we'll just do 50 from you, bud. Take 50. And then Alan's feeling generous, so he's going to pay the other 50. There we go. Boom. So we put up postings for a week, and then I guess we just get an hireling. We need to do the reaction roll, though. Gauge receptiveness if the referee chooses. If accepted, the referee rolls 3d6 for the NPC secret loyalty score. Okay, so do we want to roll to see... there might be a chart here for this. Yeah, negative reaction. Why don't we roll on the reaction chart here then and see what happens. So, is he going to react positively or negatively? That's an 8. So an uncertain reaction. Ooh, so he's on the fence. So how are we going to persuade him to be off the fence? I guess we'll tell him, look, man, I'll tell you what, you stick with us, we'll raise your pay per month. We'll tell him. And let's see if he goes for that. I'm going to say on a 1 or a 2, he doesn't go for it. I think he's got a good chance of saying yes. It's a 2, so he doesn't. Okay, so that's done. We don't get a hireling this week. That's 100 gold gone. Now, with the Frowning Friends, we need to figure out if they also tried to hire some help. And I'm just going to 50-50 this one. 1 to 3 they did. They did not, actually. So that means the Frowning Friends are going to be moving towards their quest. So Good Nimity is requested an order of sick-ass Philadelphia meat trays and ciggies to be transported to Good Nimity Horse and Carriage Donut Muster. So they're going to do that. And that is 3 hexes per day on foot until you get into like rough territory. And they need to get to Good and Windy. So we're going to say each day of 7 days. It's quite a bit of travel for them. So let's go 1. I'm going to call it and just say that even with the trees, which are like -2, and then that's 1, 2, 3, call it 2.5 days. Then they're in this sort of rougher area. We'll roll to see if they get lost. Just keep it easy, 1 or 2. It's a 4. They don't get lost. Yeah, we're just going to call it and say that they made it over there in that week. I think that's fair to do. So, oh, that's us. Well, whatever. Move us back and move them over there. Okay, so they've gotten to Good and Windy, and they have probably in the 1 week delivered the meat tray. So that quest is now, boom, it's off the table. It's done. That's all she did. She's done. And they're going to be there. And now that our week is done, we're going to have to move on. So we want to get to Spamtopia. So the area around Pennsylvania is pretty open, safe-ish grassland. But we still have to check for these things. We still have to figure out what's going to happen as we move through there. What are we getting ourselves into? That kind of thing. So let's take a quick peek here at how this works. Footer mounted travel. Roll 2d6 daily for NPC encounters. Track food and water usage. Now, where was it? I thought there was something else here. See, this is such a great system. I can't find anything when I'm using it. Penalty and hexes, yeah. So, rivers. That's actually a 3 penalty. Shoot, so we can't even quite move into there. So actually our first day is pretty much going to have to stop right in here. Because we can't quite move into that hex. It costs us 3 movement to do so. So, yeah, that's a bummer. But I'm going to say we get on this side of it at least. Okay. So we're going to have to roll now for our encounters. And then the way that will work is we need to roll 2d6 daily for encounters. So we are in a clear area, I guess. Roll 2d6. A 5 on the first die triggers a midday encounter. A 6 on the second die, an encounter at day's end upon landing. Okay. No, we're safe. No encounters, it looks like. We got a 4, we're in clear. And I guess we need a 6 to get any kind of encounter as well. So we're safe. So that's great. So our boys are resting peacefully by the river. They don't have any timber or anything with them. I am going to... Let's ask the Oracle about this. Oracle... they're in the middle of a plain, but they're by a river. There's probably trees. I'm going to say it's like middling that they'll be able to get their stuff together and get enough timber to have a fire in the evening. Why not? And it's a 2. So, no, they don't. They're going to sleep without a fire tonight. Poor guys in the cold. Just for that reason. Yeah, they're going to have to get water soon, too. I just realized. So, we'll just move on. Nothing bad happens to them. They're in a nice place at this point. So, they're going to keep moving. Now, we're back to the Frowning Friends. They're also going to be moving again. And let's say, maybe they cut through the woods again this time. It's kind of a bummer place to be. So we'll go through there, and I'll just get them up to there. I'm not worried about encounters and stuff like that with them. We just have to kind of keep track of where they're at. We are going to keep going because we have still a long way to go to Spamtopia. We're going to stay on the trail. So that's going to be 3 movement up across that river. But now we have a trail and a bridge and all that, so we will camp them here again for the night, and we'll check for our encounters. We have a 4 and a 1, which is 5. That is not enough to trigger an encounter, so we are safe that night. They are going through their rations. We need to figure out if they can get fresh water. So we're going to give them, let's say 8 hours, 2 tries to get water where they're at. And they're kind of in this marshy area here, I think. Is it marsh? It might be just like, yeah, that looks marshy to me. We'll call it marsh. We need to figure out if they can get some fresh water. So we'll roll on that. We need a 1 or a 2. We fail the first time. We get 1 more try to see if they get fresh water. Oh, they can't get any fresh water. No fresh water for them. I'm going to say like they got a good 2 days only to get fresh water. But not starting now, because they would have had some when they left anyways. They have water skins, and I'm just saying they can fill them up. So we're going to say they've got 3 days to find fresh water, to sort of reset their dehydration clock, as it were. Now, where is our other boys here? That's going to be a 2 to get into there for them. That's going to pretty much stop them dead in their tracks for now. And we are going to keep going. We don't have to do the 3 movement for that. But we do need to see how marsh affects us. And how does it affect it? It can't be marsh. No, that's marsh. This is like dead land or shrub, I think it's called. What's it called again? It's this one anyways. Scrub. Yeah, that's scrub for sure. So when we're going through scrub, swamps with tracks and trails, woods with tracks and trails. Oh, we'll just say there's no penalty then. That seems to be fair if there's a trail. So that gets us 1, 2, 3. And we roll for another encounter here. Uh-oh. Wow, I think we got the worst that we can get. So we have a 6, so we're definitely hitting. Guys. God, I'm stupid. I get it now. So I think when it says roll 2d6, I think what it actually means is I'm rolling 2d6, but I'm not adding anything together. Yeah, because it's like you roll 1, so that it's 6. I'm not lost in that case because I would need to roll a 1 or a 2. And then next one, 6. I do have an encounter because I'm in the woods. So back to what we were doing. We will get an encounter this time. Good, some action. Let's see what happens. So the encounter type, we have to figure out. We're in the, I guess we're kind of in the woods at this point. We've decided. So we will go ahead and roll 1d8, it looks like. Three. Oh, lycanthropes. That's not good. Okay, so we are heading through the woods. You know what? Our guys haven't had great luck with the fire building so far. So we're going to say that they can't get the fire burning. They're all huddled around. They're chilly in the night. And they hear howling in the distance. So I'm going to say that we'll roll 1d4 to see how many of them actually wake up. In this case, 3 of them, enough to get the other one up. So they all get up, and Alan's, what is that sound? And we're gonna fight, or we're gonna have an encounter of some kind with some werewolf. Let's see, bears sound fun, but you know what? Let's go off the chart again. Let's keep it random for now. So this is lycanthropes and giant types. Oh, okay, so we might not necessarily get in a fight, it looks like. If I'm reading this correctly. So we need a D12. Like I said, guys, if I'm doing something stupid here, let me know. I'm not embarrassed about it. It's new to me. Ah, they will be werewolves, it looks like. That's great. We got a 4 on that roll, so let's find our werewolf card, because I did actually make one. There's nothing too special about them, except that they do have their own set of rules that affects all of the werewolves in question. Now, they are hit die 4, and we are basically 4 guys. So I'm going to say it's safe to say that we will we'll be roughly even, I think. We'll see. I'm going to roll their hit points. Let's see what we get from Mr. Werewolf here. It says there's 2 appearing, though, too. So, number appearing 2 to 20. So we're going to have to do 2 of them. That's pretty nasty. So we're going to have 2 werewolves. Shoot. So the first one has 22 hit points. Oh my god. And second one... Oh, okay, that's not that bad. He's got 10. So it's a big brother werewolf. So our guys are kind of like shivering in the woods, and you know, these 2 werewolves appear out of nowhere. There's Big Daddy Werewolf and his son Gregory Werewolf, and he's pissed. He's really angry at us. He's angry because we're sleeping in his favorite spot. Okay, that's what happened here. We got in his favorite spot. This is where his son likes to play, and he's pissed now because it's like, you guys are messing everything up. You know, we had all the rocks rearranged. We had a nice clearing made up here, and now you come and you know, you're leaving your junk everywhere, your bones, whatever it is you critters eat, and yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of dealing with it. He doesn't like us right now. But we'll see. We'll check the reaction first, and we'll figure out our encounter distance and stuff. Because I think that if he has a negative reaction to us here, and since he's a monster, it's about 50-50. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, pretty close. So we'll see what his reaction is. And maybe if he has a positive reaction, it means that our smiling friends were able to talk him down somehow. So let's see what happens. 5, 6, 7. So he is uncertain. So he's this is another one where he's right on the edge, you know. And our smiling friends, like, they're like, whoa, look, man, like we don't want any trouble. We didn't mean to mess up your son's favorite place. Yeah, no, sir. We're on a journey north. We're trying to get to Spamtopia, and you know, they're trying to be nice to Mr. Werewolf here, but he's a werewolf. I don't think that he's gonna be as likely to take mercy on our wary travelers. So we're gonna say it's very unlikely that he can do this, I think. So let's go ahead and we will roll our dice. Where's our D20? Oh, that's weird. This is gonna get cut. This is gonna get cut for sure. Okay, I'm cutting that piece out, I think. But anyway, roll our D20, and it's a 2. So very unlikely. 1 to 14. Yeah. No, he's not having it. We're getting into a fight for sure. So first of all, I don't think Baby Werewolf is going to be as apt to fight. You know, He's not a big boy yet. So we'll see with him as well what his disposition is going to be here. So I'm going to first say he's middling. And we'll roll the d20 again on the Oracle. 17 for middling. Oh, okay. He's more agreeable, let's say. So it says yes, right? Just straight yes. I'm just going to say that like he's going to be more hesitant. He's going to attack us, but it's only going to be every second round. We're going to give our guys a bit of a break here, I think, right off the bat. Now we need to roll initiative. So check for surprise, encounter distance. Let me pull that over here again. Let's look at our encounter distance. Encounter distance. Roll the 1d6 for encounter distance. Oh, that's surprise encounter distance. It's covered on page 10. Okay, let's go back to page 10. Wilderness encounters. That's 15. 11, 10. Okay. Time. That's weird. That's at page 10. $2d4 by 10 feet. That's in a dungeon. Oh, here we go. In dungeons, determine encounter distance by rolling 2d4 times 10. Perfect. So that's 2d4 times 10. So we're 30. That's our encounter distance. We're 30 feet away. So I'm going to keep this real simple. We're just going to grab our party here. These are all our dudes. These are increments of 5 feet, let's say. And for our little bad boys, we'll do Daddy will be 1, Baby will be 2, and they're 30 feet away from us. Oops. Freaking glitched out on me. It does that sometimes. Here we go. Oh yeah, I've got to drag and drop them, that's why. Okay. Little hiccup with the software. I'm going to actually get rid of this box. I thought that was going to be a cool way to kind of store the dungeon levels, but I think there's an easier way to handle that. So anyway, we're going to say, yeah, they're about here. Oops. Oh, dude. Okay, let's get this fucking box out of here. So, here we go. We'll pull them over here. Baby's going to be a little bit behind Daddy. And then we got to roll our initiative. I'm going to say Glep, he's the fighter. He's going to be in front with Charlie and Pim. Alan is way the heck back here. Alan has one spell prepared, which is sleep. So that might be able to help us here. So I wasn't expecting to get in such a nasty encounter. Rolling our initiative. I'm green, they're red. 3 and 6. Oh yeah, they win. So they can move first or second, and then the other party moves. So how much do werewolves move? That's what we need to figure out. That sounds like a kids' TV show. How much do werewolves move? They only move 15, it looks like. Oh boy. So they can get about halfway to us right off the bat. And I think what we're going to do is we'll hunker down. We have to make all of our attacks, like all our preparations right away. Alan's going to prepare sleep, like for sure. That's happening. And then Charlie is going to get a bow ready. And, or not Charlie, Glep, the green guy here, is going to get a bow ready and an arrow and get ready to fire it. And then the rest of the guys are just, they're getting their maces out and being terrified. And there's nothing they can do about werewolves. They're clerics. And as far as I know, werewolves are not considered undead. So, yeah. That is what we're going to do. So we're going to prepare for that. And then they're going to move up here. About up to here. That's as far as they're going to be able to get, which will allow us to fire off spells. So we might be okay. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Sleep. It has a variable effect based on the level of the creatures targeted. So 2d8 first level creatures, 1d6 third level, and only 1 fourth level creature with up to 4 + 1 hit dice. But you know what? That's all we need. We don't need to put Baby to sleep. Baby doesn't want to fight. Baby's only fighting because Daddy's fighting. So if the number of creatures in the affected group exceeds the number rolled, randomly determine which among them succumbs to the sleep effect. If the number of the creatures in the affected group exceeds the number rolled. Okay, so we have to randomly determine it. Ugh. Because, okay, this is my thinking about this. It says the number of creatures affected corresponds to the dice rolled, right? 1d6 third level beings and only 1 fourth level creature. So as far as we're concerned, it doesn't give me an option to roll a die there. And I wonder if they saved. Do they have a save for that too? I figured it out. It looks like there's different ranges that they have to be in. So it sort of depends if they're like heroic or not. In this case, the werewolf kind of falls in the middle, so it's a 4 to 6 range that we would use. So in that case, we had an AC of 9. We needed a 6. We missed. That's all. Not that complicated ultimately, but it took me a minute. I'm gonna turn this shit down. Actually, there we go. Got really loud all of a sudden. So we do miss. Now they will save, I think, on the cleric chart for the sleep spell. So first of all, we're gonna see which one, and if it's 1 to 3, it's Daddy. It was 4 to 6 is Baby. Oh, it's 1. Good. So the sleep spell, if the werewolf doesn't save, where is our save for that? Well, I guess we can look at cleric. I don't know if I'm doing that part right. Big Daddy is asleep, and this is probably really good because I don't think Baby would pursue. I think that sleep just happens, and that's it. They're safe. Because sleep is powerful in this game, and we want it to be powerful. Oh yeah, that's sleep. So once again, it doesn't really tell us how long Daddy will sleep for, but I'm just gonna say, like, he's asleep. He's asleep. And the smiling friends, just to be nice, they're gonna sort of tell the little baby werewolf, look, don't hold it against us, you know, your dad's gonna be fine, but like, we just don't have time to deal with this. And the smiling friends are just gonna get out of there. And I'm gonna roll a d6, and I'm gonna say on a 6 or on a 1, they get tracked by the werewolves. Because once the night's over, they're not really gonna be followed, right? So let's just say 1 to 6, like worst case scenario. That's a 1. Of course. This is terrible. So we rolled a 1, so the werewolf is actually going to catch up with them again. So that's going to be something they'll have to deal with again tomorrow, I think. And we'll leave it at that. So our guys escape the night. Good for them. They're survivors. We'll give them that. Frowning Friends are going to move. And we're going to continue to move the next day. We're preparing that sleep spell again. So sleep is staying prepared. That's a powerful one, and that might get us out of a lot of pickles here. We don't know. So first we're going to have to roll for a different random encounter once again. Oh, I did not take into the fact that I believe... Did we get lost last time? No, I don't think we did. No, we didn't. What happens this time? It's a 1 and a 6. So let's go over here. In the woods, we get lost on a 1 or a 2. Then we get an encounter on a 5 or a 6. Okay. So we're having an encounter one way or another again. So lost on a 1 or a 2. We got to determine which way we end up. How do we get lost on a friggin... You know what? I'm not doing that for the trail. I just realized, like, we're on a trail right now. We should be getting lost. It sucks. That's stupid. How do you get lost on a trail? Is that cheap, maybe? I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to do that for now because that's dumb. But we will have an encounter. So we need to see what else happens for that. So let's go ahead and roll. And we're in the woods. Roll a 3. Okay. You know what? Just because... Also, let's do this. Another wolf joins the pack. Let's make this really hard on ourselves. Because I don't know why, but why not? That seems to make sense to tie it in. So the wolf dad has shown up again. 20 feet away from us this time. Oh my gosh, that's bad. Now, before I do that, I might as well move our pieces around a bit. Where did I go last time? So we were here, 1, 2, 3. We haven't done any moving. So 1, 2, and 3 into the swampland. I don't even think we can move into the swampland, actually. Oh no, if it's on a trail, we can. Yeah, there's no problem with that, so that's okay. So we're in the swamplands now, and we hear sort of like shrill "Aye!" A mum werewolf shows up. Oh man, and she's mad. She's like, "You've been hassling my kid. You put my husband to sleep. You know, he had to get up. He had to get up at 6 this morning to deal with this." She's just not happy. She's not happy at all. And the dad's humiliated. You know, you gotta imagine, like, he was just sitting there and had a little nap in the middle of this. 5, 10, 50, 20. They're all gonna be over here. Baby's gonna be behind once again. And this is how we'll set them up. And our party's gonna be set up exactly the same as last time, because I thought that was a pretty good setup originally. We need to gauge their reaction, so maybe we'll get lucky here. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. 2d6. Oh no, that's still negative. I don't even know what I would have done if it was positive. I probably would have just kept it like right in the middle and given a chance to flip it around, because maybe they calm down a little bit, but they're not calm now, so this is going nowhere. Run 1d6 initiative. Winning side can move first or second. The other party moves. I'll be red. Got green. I beat them this time. But man, I really don't want to deal with these guys. we're gonna get like murdered here. Even with sleep, we're gonna get murdered. So let's not. Let's try evading them. There's an evasion thing. It's probably on my chart there somewhere, but I don't know. Evasion. Wilderness. Number, party size. We are 4 to 9. Number of monsters encountered of possible number. 25 or % or less. I think it was more like, because there was 2 to 6, I think, in a pack. We've got 3. That's closer to 50. So chance of evasion, 50. We have a 50-50 chance to get away, and that's what our boys are going to try and do. On a 1 to 3, we fail. On a 4 to 6, we succeed. Let's see what happens. 2. Oh my god. Percentage encountered is divided. Modifiers, surprise, speed. They'd be faster than us anyway, so that would have been actually worse. On a 5-mile hex map, both sides move 1 hex. Faster pursuers have a 50% chance to catch up, triggering melee or ending pursuit. If no catch up, the party moves randomly. And pursuit rolls continue. After pursuit, the party rests 1 day for hex travel, rolling 2d6. Pursuit's not happening. They're gonna come at us. This might like be the end. This might actually be the end right now. I don't know. Should we let them try and run again at some point? Because they're just so much faster. I don't even think it's possible. Like, there's 15 movement. Yeah, we can't even get away from them. There's no way. It has to. This is like no holds bar. Okay, so let's. I have the initiative though, so there is that. So as far as movement, everybody's gonna move back, I think. And we'll go roughly there. Glep can't quite move the whole distance. These guys can. I'm roughing it out here a little bit, but I'm being fair. We're gonna move back. And we're going to start firing things off as they come. So 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15. That was 15, 5, 10, 15. They're coming up here. Alan is using sleep. We actually never determined the hit dice of this other new wolf that's here. So Mama Wolf, what is it, 4 hit dice. Mama Wolf's pretty weak. She's got 7. So it's only Daddy that we're really concerned with. So we need to roll now between the 3 of them. So we'll just go down Daddy, Baby, Mama. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so Daddy is the one that the sleep spell is going to hit. And so Daddy's asleep again. Thank F for that. Pardon my French. What the hell am I doing? Now the bow is going to be firing off at Daddy as well. I'm just repeating the same orders as last time. And now I figured out how that works. So 16, that is definitely going to be a hit. And that'll be d6 damage on Daddy. 6 damage while he's down. Kicking him while he's down. Oh, that's mean, man. So 6 damage there. So that is 16. Okay, so Daddy took a hit and went to sleep, maybe sort of simultaneously. Mama and Baby couldn't get to us. So, if I remember correct, we resolve missile fire. We'll do a morale check. So morale. I think that's like if 25% are killed or something like that. So this is not going to apply right now. So we triggered our spell and then missile fire. And then we go back to step 2. 1d6 initiative again. Okay, so we're going to be green this time. They're going to be red. I get initiative again, so we get to move first. And we're just going to keep shuffling back here. We're going to catch up this round no matter what. We'll let Glep move that extra little bit this time. Make up for last time. Charlie's moving back here. Pim's moving back here. And I'm calculating in my head like the leftovers for distance. They'll get to move one extra square next time, these three guys here. So they've moved. And now these guys are moving. We don't have another spell. Daddy's still asleep. But Baby and Mama are going to move. Did I move Daddy up last time? I did. Let's put him back. 15, 5, 10, 15. Like that. And another arrow is going to get shot off from Charlie. That's not a hit, unfortunately. That's a 5. So Charlie is not going to hit this time. And what are the other guys doing right now? I guess they can't really do too much. Like, we're kind of playing this safe at the moment. Maybe too safe. But we'll see. Okay, so going back to initiative. I got a 4 this time, and they got a 1. So we got initiative on this one again. And once again, same thing. Glep gets to move 1 this time. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so these guys are going to come up here. We'll just say 1, 2, 5, 10, 15. Boom, in combat range. And then 5, 10, 15. Yeah, that's going to do it for Glep, I think. So let's go back to our table here. He's attacking on the 4 to 6. I just realized I did something so stupid earlier. This is kind of going... This is a disaster. But session 1, it's learning the ropes. Gives me some more stuff to focus on afterwards too. So we're just going to say that he tries and bites Glep. Baby boy. Oh, he's got a 17, like, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that's a hit. And then the other one, we'll see if he hits too. Oh, they both are going to hit. Poor Glep. Poor Glep. Glep's wearing chain armor. So let's see. What's the equivalent to... Is there a dagger? It's not a -1. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter what he's wearing. Like, the chainmail wouldn't help that much anyways. Monsters have claws, talons, and teeth. The original rules say nothing about the weapon class of these natural weapons. Weapon class can thus either be entirely ignored when natural weapons are used, or the referee can exercise judgment by relating a monster's natural weapon, such as a claw or bite, to a weapon or weapon class. Might be assigned a weapon class of 8. I think we'll just leave it out. I think it makes sense to just leave that part out. So whatever. You didn't hit. They both hit anyways. So I believe that's like 1d6. But the problem is, Gleb is going to die. What's the problem? Lycanthropes. Humans shifting into 4 monster types, vulnerable to silver magical weapons, 2 to 4. Yeah, so if a victim suffers damage exceeding 50% of their max hit points from a lycanthrope, transforms into the same type. Okay, we're gonna do something horribly mean here, unfortunately, to poor Glep. Glep, I love you, baby, but you gotta die, I think. So, Glep has 5 hit points. We're rolling 2d6. We'll see what happens. This is the result. I don't know how long the camera's been all off kilter. So anyways, it was 5 exactly. Glep has 5 hit points, so Glep is dead. So he doesn't transform into anything, he just dies. And you know what? I think what we'll do is, because our characters are probably horrible people and terrified at this point of what just happened to poor Glep, who got ripped to shreds, they're running away. They're just running. And because I would like to see this party not be completely obliterated in one evening, we will say they run, the rest of them. So Glep is dead. And I don't know how we're going to handle that yet. I haven't quite figured it out. I mean, we'll probably just have to reroll a new character entirely, which is fine. So we'll just say Gleb had early retirement, unfortunately, which is too bad. He wasn't terribly... his charisma was awesome. That's probably the thing that really sucks. He had really good charisma. Okay, so these guys are going to run. No one gets any experience or anything like that. They just get their lives, all except for Gleb, who has met his fate in this awful, awful place. So we'll go a little bit more here, just to see what happens with our friends and everything over on this side. Man, they went the wrong way. Sorry, boys. But we have a long way to go, too. So we're going to continue 1, 2, 3. Actually, no, 1. Yeah, obviously. 2, 3. This way. Getting closer to Spamtopia. And we got to roll to see. Not if we get lost, but if we get an encounter. So it's 5. No, we're good, I believe, there. So, yeah. No encounter for us tonight. The boys over here keep moving up this way. We're going to go 1, 2, and let's find out what the penalty is for desert. Desert is 2, so they can't move into the desert tonight, so they'll have to camp out one more night here. And one thing we have to check for, so I'll give it 4 tries here, is if they ended up finding fresh water or not. I just realized we're a little bit behind there. Well, we might be roughly on target, but I'm not banking on that. So they're not quite in the desert yet. They're more in the woods here. So let's see if they found some fresh water. No. 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 4s. All 3 rolls so far. 1. Okay. They're able to find fresh water, so that'll refresh them for another few days. And let's say, let's give them a chance at some root vegetable farming too here. We're just going to say they rest completely for the next day before they move into the desert. So we'll give them a few tries at some stuff. We'll go for wild game first. Nothing. We'll go for root vegetables. That gets them rations for a day, so that'll extend their ration for another day or so. Gotta start tracking this a little bit more carefully. I can probably go back in the video and then figure it out from there. I'll have to watch this and cut a bunch of it anyway, so we'll figure that out after. But they're gonna stay there for one more night, which means these guys are gonna get 2 movements. So they're very close to completing their quest. Well, they already have technically completed the quest. They're just heading back now. And we're going to stay here. So, I think that what I'm going to do, just because this is the first video, there's some technical stuff I want to figure out, and then there's some rule stuff that I want to figure out, is I'll stop it for now, cut this, upload it, and then next week, now that this tool's all built and then I have everything I need, I can probably get a couple sessions in next week. So guys, thank you for coming into this and seeing a bit of my messy procedure. I hope people think the program that I'm using is cool. This is Mural. If anybody wants this, like, you can message me. I would just ask you not to share it out. I just don't want to like step on anyone's toes at this point, but I might even be able to make a version that's a little bit less reliant on stuff from the book and everything. So I might get to that. But anyway, for now, this was our first session. So where it stands now is we are very nearly at Spamtopia, where we'll be picking up Oscar. Our poor friend Glep has died, and we're in the middle of the wilderness. So, unless we take some kind of detour, we don't really have another opportunity to pick up somebody else. It's just these three now, mortified at their friend's death, of course. And yeah, we get to Spamtopia, and then we have to go up here, which is not that far. And that helps us complete our journey. And then it's the journey back after that, or whatever else we want to do. This has been a lot of fun. If you guys have feedback, like, I'm not shy about criticism. I understand that my camera went off into oblivion there for a while, so I have no idea. There's stuff I'll be a little bit more careful about and get ironed out next time. But this was pretty fun, I gotta say. Now, I'm trying to add a little bit of narration here, but I think part of it is it's weird talking to yourself. Like, I'm just talking to myself. I'm talking into a camera, but it doesn't have the same engagement level to me. This is like my brief review of solo play. It's harder to engage myself and create a conversation in my head that might be going on with these parties than it is to do that with somebody else, right? So like I'm stumbling over my words a little bit. I'm not really sure what to say. So I don't know, like it might take some time to get into it. It's an interesting concept though, solo play. I think that the thing that interests me the most about it probably is it's a really good way to be able to kind of think of new systems and new aspects of the design, because you're trying to make this kind of automated process, right? So kind of being encouraged to make more interesting systems to determine things happening, I think is a really cool part of it. And I think with OD&D and Wight-Box, what I like so much about the systems is that they're very, very straightforward in what they present. And they leave a lot of stuff really open to interpretation. And you can look at that as in one of two ways. You can look at it as sort of painful, or like you have to do all the work yourself in a way, and have that feel negative. And I would understand that. Like, I get why there's a lot of people that would just bounce off of this, right? I mean, it's an older game. Like I said, there's some complicated stuff in here like this or whatever. It's not as complicated as it looks, trust me. But, you know, I had to do a lot of work to put these things together. And even then, there's a lot of things I'm not quite clear on, like, you know, how that matrix worked, and a few things like that I stumbled across in the process here. But I think that if you put the time into learning it, because it's so open-ended, you can fill those gaps in a lot of creative ways. What I really want to try and do as I'm making new systems for this is try to really stay within the spirit of what John has done with Wight-Box, where he's trying to keep it very, very close to the original material without too many flourishes. And although right away I would be betraying that by creating my own little systems, but I think there's a way to create them where they have a level of general simplicity still, right? Like this chart is simple to interpret. You pick your region, you pick the thing you want to harvest or forage rather, you roll a die, and then you did or you didn't. I mean, these are the kind of systems I want to make going forward, but only as they are needed. Pardon me. I don't want to replace, if that makes sense. I just want to make new stuff and put it on top, layer it on top, but not go too crazy with it, you know? I think it's important to keep it in the spirit of the game, and as we've seen so far, Dungeons & Dragons, old D&D, is really about overland travel and random encounters and dungeon crawling. It's very simple. I mean, we have a dungeon somewhere in here that we haven't discovered yet. But that's all going to be generated on the fly as well for the most part. I'll probably put like my own flourishes into it past the random generation. It doesn't need to be all randomly generated necessarily, but I want to use the tools to the best of my ability and get used to them and comfortable with them. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling, guys. I just want to say thanks for tuning in and watching this. If you're interested in any of these things, you can find me on X. I am the Compleat DM, so just COMPLEAT DM. And I also have a blog, the Compleat DM, Game Design Insights and Analysis or something like that. I can't remember the tagline. But that's Compleat DM as well at Substack. So I share some of these things, like you can see it here. I went over it earlier, is that chart. You can find stuff like that on there. You can find a whole bunch of blogs that I've written on there, some of which are try to be helpful to other people getting into game design. So anyways, thanks.